I
What
mean,
was
pulled
cool
up.
about Lancaster, man, and I'll say this was, that was my first experience with like seeing Amish people. Nothing had unfolded. This was like tail end of my senior year of basketball season. We made the playoffs, made a run or whatever, and then our high school baseball coach actually came to me one day at school and said, "Listen, somebody got hurt. We know that you play whatever you played JV ball a couple years ago. Could you come fill in for like 2 weeks?" And lo and behold, man, that was kind of like God's plan because that night or a couple weeks later, whatever I put in, there was like 15 games left. Um, a scout was there, a junior college scout was there watching that night. He was watching my best friend pitch. And so I don't know, man. I had a couple hits, something, stole a base or made a diving stop or something. He called me that night and I'll never forget it. He asked me a question that really stuck with me and changed my mind and mentality sport wise from basketball to baseball right there in that moment. He said, some people are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to offer you a full baseball scholarship here at the junior college. And I want you to think about something. He said, how many 6 foot white dudes are in the NBA right now? And all I could name was Steve Nash at the time. And so it brought a new light and perspective to, I prayed about it. I thought about it with my parents, my family, and I didn't really have much going for me as a 6 foot, nothing. I thought I was better than I really was at basketball. Some small schools, D2, junior college, stuff like that. And I just kind of switched sports overnight and I made the commitment. And I always loved playing baseball. I just never thought much of it or thought there was a future there. And from there, man, I just committed to the dream and kind of changed a little bit, but trusted God with it. And the people close to me and grinded my butt off and turned into 4-year college career, went on to professional baseball, spent 15 years in that, and now have just come back in the last year to the college scene
Yeah.
in Lancaster. Okay. Having a good year that year, whatever. Meet you, Luke. My wife, at the time we were engaged. She's flying up after work on a Friday, and it was her first time going to see me play because we met later in my career, like right before Lancaster. She had not seen me play any, you know, pre-Troy, Dodgers, none of that. Like she'd heard about it, but she'd never seen me. So I'm amped up. I'm excited. I'm juiced that she's coming. I'm like, all right, I'm about to ball out for my lady. Well, she gets there, and I was off to a tear, having a great season. And that night, I'm telling you what, like I went like 0 for 5 with like 5 strikeouts, trying to impress her so bad, right? So I'm devastated after the game. I'm moody. I come out of the clubhouse and she's worked all day in Alabama. She's worked for the attorney general. She was a lawyer. Um, had worked all day, jumped on a plane to Lancaster, got there when the game started. And so after the game, she's like, I can tell she's kind of perturbed with me. I'm mad about my performance. She's like, all right, where are we going to go? Let's go eat, whatever. That's kind of the per usual after a game. Find a spot that's open, or if you don't go home and get a pizza or something. And I think the only place open, Luke, was like Chili's. Is Chili's still there?
Yeah.
It's over there
Yeah.
by a
Oh
hotel.
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, so we go to Chili's. It's the only thing open at like 10 o'clock on a Friday night. We sit down. We're one of the only ones in there. She's actually staying at the hotel next to Chili's. We had host families, and she was staying there or whatnot. You may not have been allowed to bring. Every family is a little bit different about bringing, like, whether it was your wife or fiance
Yeah.
or something into the home. So we just put her in the hotel. Well, we sat down to eat, and I'll never forget this. We ordered, and she's kind of like, you can tell she's kind of getting mad at me, but it doesn't matter because I'm pouting the whole time anyway. I'm frustrated about the bats. And I remember she looked at me and she said, Adam, she was like, at this point in your career and where you're at, she's like, I don't think we're going to get married if this is how you act about baseball. Like at the end of the day, like we're sitting here eating a meal. I'm not marrying you because you get hits, because you go 5 for 5 or you go 0 for 5. Like I love you as a man, the person you are, not how good you do on the field. And that it was an aha moment for me because as players, you chase results a lot of times, and you tie a lot of your process to the results, and the results kind of can dictate how you act and control you at times. And I was 28 years old. Nobody ever squared me up like that. She got up and left the table. The waitress is bringing the food, like they pass each other. She gets up, she says, "I'm not doing this. I worked too hard today. I came up here to support you. I want to see you. I want to spend time. But like, I refuse to sit here and have dinner with you if you're going to pout over your results. Like, man up. Like, you get tomorrow. You get to play a game." And it's, no coach had ever kind of, squared me up like that. Not even my own parents sometimes. And, sometimes there's supporting cast around you. You got to have some people speak the truth. And I never forgot that, because it was like, for so long, I let the game kind of dictate who I was, how I did things, my attitude, my effort, my energy, whatever, how I acted in the clubhouse sometimes, some choices I made. And it just, it clicked where it was like, man, it's not supposed to be like this. That there's a healthier way, the same guy kind of mentality of like, just do it because you love it and because God's got you in this spot right now, and give it all you can and dominate the controllables. And like, what are those? And you start asking yourself as a young man, and it helps turn you into a man. And it's, probably why I have a daughter now, because had she not squared me up, I didn't need a daughter. That's why I was 28, 29, getting married at a later age. I was just stuck on baseball and married to baseball. And there's nothing wrong with chasing a career, but, letting it dictate who you are and how you do it to some degree, is real.
Quick quiz time. Do you remember how we met? Do you remember what the scene was kind of it?
Oh, man, you gonna put me on the spot like that?
Yeah.
I was on deck, like where you were sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
Always noticed that, like this, you get to see some of the same people and familiar faces,
Yeah.
season ticket holders and stuff like that. And I think I dapped you up. I needed some luck or something that game, and I was like, give me some mojo or something. Touch my bat.
Yeah. Here, actually, I've got
what you got.
I've got the bat right here. This is one of the bats that you gave me. You broke this one. I mean, I don't really remember the hit, but you broke the bat. You signed it, gave it to me. But this is one of the bats I touched and gave you that mojo.
So you touched one of the bats and then he broke it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I probably broke too many in my career. There's not enough marks on that bat. Now that you pull that out, I wasn't a good enough hitter as I thought I was. But when Luke touched it, it worked. What's the toughest thing you guys face in high school? I'm gonna ask you a question now. You say you're starting to go through some of these,
how the tables have turned.
That's right.
Part about high school.
Each guy's got to go. Give me one thing, and it's got to be different. It can't be the same.
I guess I can start off by just saying time management between classes, homework, sports. It's a lot, especially getting a job as well. Like, there's a lot of stuff on the table, a lot of stuff to manage. So I'd say time management is difficult, but yeah.
I'd go self-sufficiency, where you're kind of like, teachers aren't helping you with as much stuff. Like you said, getting a job, we can like starting to get permits, driver's license. You can go different places and just starting to do more stuff like without your parents.
Some independent. Yeah, good. Awesome. I had a player one time in Pittsburgh, young guy. We were in high A, and I won't say any names, but there was a couple years back to back where I was trying to get in there and trying to connect, and he was in a challenging season of life, a few different things going on. But at the same time, like, he never gave up on me, and I never gave up on him, as far as like, that's my job. Like, I'm going to keep trying to love on you, care for you, communicate with you, connect with you, serve kind of thing. And I remember, like, internally knowing that, gosh, I'm trying with this guy and it's not working, but I'm going to keep trying. And I didn't know what else to do at the time. And I just trusted, I trusted all my years of hard work and teammates and things I've learned, and why I was there, my purpose, and kind of rediscovered my why, because after all those couple years, he and I struggled, and we continued to care for each other, even in our challenging times or whatnot. whether it was me going through something or him. Years later, I got a call from him when he got married, and he said, "Gotti, you were right." And it's not about being right or wrong. It just gave me validation that, never stop loving people and players and connecting. And that's what makes this game so special is down in the clubhouse. It's 25 different guys that come from different walks, different backgrounds, different daily struggles. And I remember, when I was in pro ball, if you weren't a first rounder, then the time and the game has changed and every organization is a little bit different. You just fend for yourself. The first rounders may get a little bit more attention. They may deserve it because they're better and they've got a bigger investment. But I treat it stuck with me though, because I always, didn't have it. So it kind of fueled my drive to be that coach that gave it, treated everybody like a first rounder. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. It was just one of those things that for a guy that didn't play in the big leagues or have a career, when you're coaching in pro ball, you sometimes want to look in the mirror and say, there are challenging days just like life where it's like, man, am I in the right spot, guy? Can I do this? You know what I mean? Because everything's kind of, you match it up to the world and it's like, well, only playing in the big leagues is you get credit, you know what I mean? And people kind of scale you off of that. And it's so much deeper when you peel back the layers of connecting, communicating, culture, the things that are important in life. Because the biggest thing is baseball parallels with life and marriage and raising kids. There's no other game like it, in my opinion. That's what's so unique about it. So, yes, we're going to be the best ballers we can be, but at the same time, we're going to be, what does being a championship father look like? I don't know. Those are things that smacked me in the face when I walked away from baseball as a player. My wife, she laughs about it. She used to refer to me as Peter Pan, and she's right. In some ways it's, we work so hard on the field and developing our talents and trying to, reach the ultimate goal. But sometimes back in the day, you didn't get kind of coached up on going from a young boy to a man, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. And so that's where it's at for me, is kind of changing the world through baseball, not letting baseball change my world.